Hello everyone, and welcome back to IMO Reviews. We've all seen Avatar 2 at this point, and I was the unpopular opinion. So now that the dust has settled, it's time for round 2, where I can get into the nitty gritty and talk about it in spoiler details and explain more clearly why I didn't like it. So that is your warning. If you have not yet seen Avatar The Way of Water, you might want to dip now and check out my spoiler-free review. Because it turns out that this one actually kept me up at night. I was tucked in and ready to snooze in my bed, only for my brain to wake up and say, did they really explain Stephen Lang's return by just saying they put his conscience on a USB stick? Yeah, they did, and it's not the only incredibly dumb piece of writing Avatar 2 had the cheek to offer as interesting storytelling. And I'm going to start with the Holy Birth storyline, because this one confused the life out of me. Not only is it really lazy of James Cameron to do this again, yet another Holy Birth, where there seems to have been no bumping of uglies, and yet child was born anyway. I am so confused by this. So this child is the daughter of Sigourney Weaver's character, who died in the first one and wasn't pregnant in the first one. So how has a dead lady given birth to a child? Am I missing something there? Because that genuinely fried my brain. How did Sigourney Weaver die and still give birth? I don't get that. But maybe I missed something, maybe someone can explain that to me in the comment section, but that's the way I read it. Sigourney Weaver died and still somehow gave birth to a Na'vi child. And the Na'vi child was born in Pandora, so I'm guessing it must have been Sigourney Weaver's avatar that had the baby, not actual real life Sigourney Weaver on the spaceship hub thing. I don't know, it's just so flimsy to me. Now we need to talk about Spider, the little human boy who was left behind, because wow, James Cameron, you really are copying yourself here, aren't you? He's Newt. He's basically just Newt. The only changes are he's a boy now, and he's a completely unlikable dickhead. You even called him Spider. Why do all of James Cameron's feral children have to have names like this? What's next? Is the next kid going to be called Iguana? Chameleon? Just come on. So this film took over 10 years to make, and you're telling me that's the best character writing you can come up with? This might just have been me, but I actually found the crab mechs hilarious. Why are they crabs? What is that about? I don't understand that idea either. Crabs can only walk sideways. They're not really the most efficient thing to design a robot on. And yet that's what we've chosen here. That, again, just feels like design over logic. But yes, the little pinchy crawly robots really did tickle me. And this one, I actually laughed out loud in the cinema, because this is the height of stupidity. So they capture a whale and they kill it, and they stick a drill in its brain, and they get some weird sort of gooey yellow liquid in a tube, and this gooey yellow liquid is like de-aging juice for humans. It stops aging entirely, is the way they describe it. Again, typical James Cameron. Just brush it off with a throwaway sentence and no actual logic to it. But we've got some invincibility juice now, apparently, because unobtainium doesn't matter anymore. We'll get to that. But what's even funnier is that this invincibility juice, apparently, one tub of it only costs 80 million. That's quite fair, actually. This movie costs something like 2 billion, but the power of invincibility is 80 million. Apologies if this one bores you when you're not a football fan, but Felipe Coutinho's transfer from Liverpool to Barcelona was £100 million. One football player, who isn't that good, no offence Aston Villa fans, actually some of you probably agree with me, but one average football player costs more than a superpower of endless life. Avatar 2 is just a complete and utter rehash of the original. We meet a new tribe. Tick. We must learn the ways of the new tribe. Tick. There's going to be some teething problems with the new tribe as we settle in. Tick. There's going to be a blossoming romance that mostly develops through montage because we're not very good at writing. Tick. The humans attack. Oh no. Tick. I could go on. For a film that's selling itself on masterful glory and immersion and effort that's taken over a decade, why is it so lazily written? And in my spoiler-free review I mentioned that I personally felt like pretty much the first hour of this movie could be cut out, and to be clearer on that, I honestly think this movie could have started with, we're going to the water tribe. Because that first 40, 50 minutes really wasn't doing anything but just sort of saying, hey, do you remember the end of the last one? Well, here's where we are now. We had some kids, we're still in the jungle, and humans still suck. Really isn't necessary. That could all have been very much implied by just seeing you and your wife arriving at the water tribe with kids. You didn't need an hour of montage of it. I don't know, it just felt sloppy to me. I also don't understand why Jake just resigned as leader of the jungle tribe. There was no discussion about it, there was no uproar about that. Awful leadership. He's basically just saving himself and leaving everyone else to suffer when the humans inevitably arrive. And what I really don't get is that if the humans in the first one were after unobtainium that's in the jungle, Jake has now left the jungle completely unmanned, unguarded, just open to attack. Why are the humans still going after Jake when they could just go to the empty jungle and get the unobtainium that they failed to get the first time round? But no, because the writing is really bad in this one. There's no mention at all of unobtainium anymore, and we're now just after the whale juice, apparently, even though there was no mention of the whale juice in the first one. And it makes Jake look like a dickhead. What an awful leader. Oh, the humans are coming, are they? Well, me and my family, we're going to go and find protection over there. You guys can figure it out, I guess. See ya! We'll remember to send you a postcard! I just didn't get that at all. That is not good character development, and that certainly doesn't make me like Jake Sully. I moaned about the whale in my spoiler-free review, and I still have issues with the whale. Mostly because it comes out of absolutely nowhere, and it genuinely feels like the movie stops to give you a 45 CGI rendition of the movie Free Willy, and I don't know why. The only reason I can sort of find it a little bit more tolerable than most stuff in this movie is that at least it did come full circle and it did deliver a good action set piece at the end. It's dumb, it's illogical, it barely fits in at all, but at least it did come full circle. Also, James Cameron, hold the bloody phone. What are you talking about when you tell me that whales are super intelligent musicians and poets? Again, James Cameron just making up rules and offering no explanation or no logic at all, and we're just going to give it a throwaway sentence and you just have to go along with it. But you do actually really need to elaborate on these things, because honest, the first thing that came to my mind was, you gotta help me out here, James Cameron, and if you don't, it's gonna be a problem and I have to plant a big red flag. And that is the ultimate issue for me with Avatar 2. I need story, I need characters, and it's staggering how little of it is offered in its exhaustingly long runtime. Which really does lead me to my final point of this rant, and that is, if you liked Avatar 2, that's fine. I might scream, I might rant, I might act like my opinion is the most important in the world, because let's be honest, it is. But I can only offer you what I genuinely thought and felt. I would feel disingenuous if I sat here and just said, oh, I loved it because everybody else loved it. No, I wish I loved it. Sadly, I didn't. I don't want you to have a bad time at the cinema. I want you to have a good time. So if you loved it, I'm not going to be upset about that. That's a great thing. That's the beauty of it. If we all thought and said the same thing, film criticism would be really boring. But nonetheless, I feel like I've made my point. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Avatar 2? What did you think about it? Have you changed your mind maybe now that I've been a bit clearer on some of my issues with the movie? Maybe have you now looked at them and thought, he has got a point? Or maybe have you doubled down and think, no, he really is dumb, that Elliot. Either way, let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, you can always click on these suggested videos here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole before Christmas. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.